In this forecast for America by One Nation Weather, I'm going to be covering the huge ridge that's going to be coming into portions of the central and northern states. I've got the information for that in this video. Thank you so much for joining me here. This forecast as of Friday, June 16, 2023 is intended for that forecast through the weekend and into the upcoming week. I wanted to start out by giving you a look at the smoke because for your Saturday here, it is going to be non-zero smoke chances into many parts of the eastern and northern tier of the country. Some of those greens and yellows indicating maybe some of the unhealthy for sensitive groups situations for us here. So again, children, elderly adults, and then those people just with asthma and underlying health conditions. You might want to limit your time or just eliminate your time outdoors as that smoke passes through, especially if it looks really hazy outside. The more hazy it is out there, the worse chance you have of seeing that the smoke issues with you there. Now your patterns causing the smoke further on your Saturday, you can see we've got those northwesterly winds. You can see the wind barbs, they're pointing towards the northwest. The winds are coming from that direction, which means that as those winds come from the Canadian areas for us there, they're obviously going to bring that smoke on in, and that will continue into some communities as we go into our Sunday. But I did want to get to your Saturday forecast for you here. You can see a lot of good coverage of the showers and storms into portions of the plains as well as the southeast for us here, especially along the Gulf Coast where we could see some severe weather there along a stationary boundary, and then back into portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, back over to Colorado. We have another level 2 severe weather threat there. And that same cold front's going to swirl back up into the northeast with a different area of low pressure there. That will produce some of that rain, and that's also what's producing that northwesterly flow that is causing the smoke. Everything's connected in the weather patterns for us here. Now, Saturday, June 17th, this is what it's looking like for your severe weather. Almost all of Oklahoma and portions of western Arkansas need to be on alert, especially for these storms, but southern Kansas, northern Texas as well, and then around the Gulf Coast zones for us there, we have to keep an eye out for some of those severe storms, level 2 and level 3 threats in those areas. You can see the severe hail. The hatch area for here goes from North Texas all the way on up into central and southern Kansas for you here, and it does include Oklahoma as well. That's where you need to watch out for some of the baseball-sized, even softball-sized hail. We could also see some wind gusts 70 to 80 miles per hour in that hatch zone, so we'll keep an eye on that. We also have the potential for some of the wind to be in excess of 60 miles per hour around the Gulf Coast zones for us there. A tornado is possible. We'll keep an eye out, but it doesn't look like that is the highest threat. But again, if you get that tornado warning, you need to be ready to get into a safe place. So no, you can watch my severe series video on that. Now, Saturday afternoon storm energy looks like this. Look at all the energy working its way northward. Winds are from the west and the upper levels and the lower levels of the atmosphere, which is going to help these storms develop. And again, that's kind of why there is not as much of a tornado threat, because there's not as much shear, not as much rotation going on in the aloft levels of the atmosphere for us here. 6 p.m. Central Time on your Saturday looks like this. Not too much going on yet, but by 8, look at how this explodes. Oklahoma City will be watching out for some of those storms. This will not be for everybody, but the people who do get rain will have that very heavy hail downpours could be coming in and down in some of these storms as well. Might see that hail shaft off in the distance as the sun comes down. Look at that. Continuing on further eastward, Dallas might get impacted by this as we go to 10 p.m. Central. These storms will be racing off to the east. They'll be covering a good 100 miles or so in a good 2 hours for us as they continue to push off into the east, kind of forming their own little vortex for us there as we go to around 2 a.m. Central Time on Sunday. And still some damaging winds could progress in portions of Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana as the night finishes. And then look at that. Sunday we do have the potential for severe and flooding chances to overlap for you there into portions of the Mid-South. We'll keep an eye on that for you. We also have areas in the northeast getting a good bit of rain. That is something to definitely watch as well, as we have those showers that could be repetitive both days in the weekend. Your severe outlook on Sunday looks like this. You can see a level 2 risk for severe weather portions of Arkansas on down to Alabama. And look at that, more energy swirling northward, which is going to make for more of these big storms, hail, wind, maybe a few tornadoes as well. So that's something that we'll be watching for your Sunday afternoon around 7 p.m. Central. That's when those storms look to really explode. Now, your rainfall through the weekend, these green areas indicate a quarter, half an inch of rain, but some of these blue spots, half an inch to an inch. And then notice these pink areas. These are the spots where we could see around a 2-inch mark. So we'll keep a very close eye on that because that could cause some flooding. I know I've been saying we'll keep an eye on that because there's a lot of stuff to watch out there through the weekend. This is my official One Nation Weather chance of 2 inch of rain plus through the weekend forecast for us here. A lot to put in there. And look at that. A level 2 out of 4 threat for some of the rain to exceed 2 inches coming out of eastern Arkansas going down to the Gulf Coast. And then also a level 1 threat for that into the northeast. So certainly some of the very heavy rainfall there. Now shifting our attention to the heat for you here. If you do not have air conditioning, this is going to be a very tough week for you in the central and northern tier. Look at how all these pink warnings for you there in southern and eastern Texas, portions of southern Louisiana. Those are the excessive heat alerts. We have the heat advisories surrounding that, and I am anticipating those to shift further north and east as the week goes on for us. Look at this Saturday high temperatures in the mid-south. We've got many 100-degree readings south of this horizontal line for you there. And then as we go into our looking at the dew points on your Saturday, 70s for dew points. When it's 100 and the dew points are in the 70s, you're feeling like 110 plus. This is going to be very severe heat. Even when it's in the 90s with the dew points like this, it can feel like 100 plus. This is dangerous heat. You need to stay inside. Check on elderly neighbors. All of those things that you hear. Those are things that you really need to do because people might be struggling with heat like this, and if you're not drinking enough water, this can really become a problem and can even result in death, unfortunately. Sunday high temperatures mid-south look like this. You can see 110-degree readings, not out of the question for us here. Not out of that realm of possibilities. You can see some of them popping up on the European model as we go into our Monday. Tuesday, yes, the pink shadings continue, which is just really showing how long this is lasting as well, and the 90s will continue surging northward as well. Here are your Tuesday high temperatures in the north central. The Dakota's getting plenty of 90s. Over to Des Moines, we've got low 90s. Over into portions of the Chicago area, we've got 80s to near 90. It's going to be hot here. Humidity is going to be up. Temperatures in the 90s. You also need to check on your elderly neighbors. Check on your pets. Don't take them for a walk on those hot sidewalks. Just all those things that you can do to limit your exposure to this heat. Do them for it here, especially if you do not have that air conditioning. Wednesday dew points, again, surging up into the 60s in the northern tier. We're not necessarily seeing rain and storms with this. We will back into portions of the plains at times, but this is not going to be a huge rainmaker system for us here because this is high pressure. This is high pressure. So what this is doing is really just sucking up moisture, but not really any of that precipitation to cool you off. So it's going to be very hot and very humid. As you can see, there's that culprit pattern. That's what I have on the thumbnail of my video here. And the drought monitor is also quite significant. Portions of the plains, as well as the Great Lakes region for us here in a drought as we go into the end of the week and into the weekend and beyond for us here. And look at this, the rain total Saturday through the upcoming Friday. It looks to be pretty much blank in the Great Lakes region. Most of that rain will occur in the plains, and we'll talk about the southeast rain in a minute. That looks like a lot. So my forecast for particularly dry zones this week, look at this, that red area, very, very dry into areas around portions of the Chicago zone for us there, and then also over back into portions of the southwest, particularly dry this week. Here's the culprit pattern as we go into late week. We've got the heat pushing into the northeast. Notice the southeast system kind of degrading by then. And here is that southeast system. Let's talk about it. Monday setup looks like this. Rainfall into many portions of the southeast. And look how this just continues Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just expanding over this area. We're going to have a stalled frontal boundary trying to produce low pressure as well. The rain totals could be quite significant out of this Monday through Wednesday afternoons. According to the National Weather Service for us here and NOAA, looking like some of those totals could be 2 to 4 inches, and this is what my forecast for here is. For at least 2 inches of rain, there's a low chance going all the way up into Virginia, around portions of Florida and Louisiana, but we have a medium to high risk into the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. Keep a very close eye out because we could see some significant flooding out of these storms as they push through this area. Now, speaking of storms, we have one over the waters. For now, just pouring rain over an area that's already wet. 60% chance of development, though, as this pushes west across portions of the tropical Atlantic. You can see that energy coming off of Africa. One of our first tropical waves of the season for us here, pushing westward with some energy with it. And you can see as we go into our Monday, the tropical setup looks like this. We could see go ahead and get a depression by as early as Monday, I think. But as we go to Tuesday and into Wednesday, look at how this kind of gathers into a 990 millibar low. That's well below the normal low pressure center in general for us here, which is going to show that we could be seeing a tropical storm. Tropical Storm Bret would be its name by Wednesday. The European model is also in agreement with it. That's what the European model shows. Very similar location and timing for us there as we go towards midweek. The good news is right now models look to bring this north and west and then take it off to the east just before it can get to the United States and Canada. We'll keep an eye on that for you, but it does not look significant right now. Your headlines recap looks like this. Stormy weekend for the south central tier. Major heat wave all week spreading northward. Southeast stays active with scattered flooding, and we're keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Bret coming soon, but it does not look to be a threat to land right now.